and welcome to the Niche Website Theme webinar. Very excited to have you guys on, and I'd like to be able to introduce you to both Chris and Spencer, who I've been speaking to with regards to niche websites, and I wanted to actually get them onto the call today to share with you some really amazing information about how to be able to get your niche website pretty much optimized, so that way you don't have to spend too much time driving too much traffic to your website, but still be able to convert them and make money from either advertising or AdSense and so forth. So let me introduce you to Spencer and Chris. Welcome to the call, guys.
Thanks, Aaron. Glad to be here.
Thanks, appreciate it very much.
Thank you so much for coming on. Well, I thought I'd let you guys take over the ball because you guys are the ones who are going to be the guys introducing and showing me. I'm going to be sitting here watching and learning a lot from you, and I hope that everybody else will also be doing the same. Before we do start, I'd like to probably ask everyone if they can hear us clearly. So if you wouldn't mind just typing a yes in the control panel on your right-hand side, let us know that you can hear us, and if everything's good, then we'll get straight into the presentation right now.
Yep, I'm seeing everybody posting here.
Fantastic. Okay, well, let's get the ball rolling. So I'll pass it on to you, Spencer. And Chris.
Yeah. All right, well, thanks everybody for coming on and taking some time out of your day to listen to what we have to share with you. I'm Chris Guthrie, and I run the blog MakeMoneyOnTheInternet.com, and Spencer runs NichePursuits.com. And we're going to be talking about how design, ad layouts, and then the colors on your website can actually increase your earnings without having to actually increase your traffic. So it's a really important topic to discuss because the more money you can make from your existing traffic, the more you can make as you scale up your traffic as well. So Spencer, if you want to go ahead and take it away into the next topic here, that'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. And first off, before I get started, I just wanted to say thank you, everyone, for joining us here tonight. We always appreciate everyone taking a little bit of time out of their day, and we know that many of you are from all over the world. It could be early morning, late at night, so whatever time it is for you, thanks for making a little bit of time for Chris and I to cover some great topics here. Looks like I've got Aldrin here from Montreal here, already given a shout out to his hometown. So, but thank you everyone wherever you are for being here with us. So, we're going to jump right into it. And first of all, I could go into a lot of details about how to do a lot of research about finding that next big business idea, that next big website idea, and how to get traffic to your site. There's so many topics that we could cover, but tonight we're going to focus exclusively on the topic of really how to make the most money from the traffic that you are getting, because many times, even if you're just getting a small trickle of traffic, you do want to optimize that to the best of your ability. So even just a little bit of traffic can at least earn you something, and of course, if you have a lot of traffic, some of the strategies that we are going to recommend here tonight can make a big difference in how your site is performing. So first I want to talk about how to structure a niche website, and really what I mean is the overall layout for the site. Now, is there an ideal site? After all, here I'm going to give you an image of maybe 4 sort of popular or common layouts that there are as far as sidebar locations. And when you look at these, you have to think, now, should I always be using a sidebar on the right, or should I always be using a sidebar on the left, or 2 sidebars, or any of those combinations? There's really a lot of different options and ways that you could go. But there really isn't necessarily one size-fits-all solution for every single website, but there are some general guidelines that you can follow to make the most from your site. And the way to do that is really to follow the eyeballs. You need to follow and understand what people are looking at first and most often on your site so you can take advantage of that. And so that's what we're going to go over here real quick. Like I said, there's a variety of different types of layouts, But what we sort of found that works best for niche websites are, of course, first, ads that are above the fold. And an ad that is above the fold is one that is simply one that the user doesn't have to scroll down to the bottom of the screen to see. Anything above the fold is something they don't have to scroll down for. So that's going to be your highest click-through rate ads, are things that are above the fold, and then in some other highly visible locations. And these include the headers of your site, the titles of your articles. These are usually big and bolded and sort of stand out first thing when people come to your site. They see the titles. And then the sidebars are the place for navigation. These are common places where people go to scroll to other places on your site. So these are some highly visible locations. And then another one that is perhaps secondary but also good to help monetize your site is after the content. If the user reads through your article and finds the information valuable and wants to learn more, perhaps, some well-placed ads after the content can be a great secondary place to monetize some of that traffic. Now next, there are some ad positions that overall, when you look at a site, that can perform the best. And this is a heat map given out by Google a number of years ago. They did a study that tracked website users, and sort of the first thing that they looked at and the best performing locations for ad units. And so the darker the color on this heat map, the more highly visible or the more likely to get clicked on that ad will be. So you can see that just above the primary content and just below the navigation bar and on the left sidebar are sort of the best locations or the most highly visible locations. And then again, just after the content down here, you know, perhaps after the article is another good place. It's sort of interesting to point out that not necessarily everything above the fold is a good location, at least according to this heat map. If you look at this top right-hand corner, you can see it's a white square here, meaning that that's not really the optimal place to be putting advertising if you want users to actually click and look at that. So that's something.
Ask a question
Yes, go ahead.
I've seen a lot of websites with banners like, say, 468 by 60 on the top right-hand corner. And as you've shown there with Google, they're saying that's not the optimal position. Why do people still put those banners up on the top right-hand corner?
That's a good question. It could be a matter of maybe that's just how they've seen others do it. It could be a matter of they're just trying to sort of, and I know I've done this, sort of fill out my site so it looks, you know, more complete. Sometimes it feels like if you put something up there, you know, up next to your logo or up near your navigation bar, your site looks a little bit fuller. And then perhaps another reason people might do this is if you're using an ad network that pays based on a CPM or a page view basis, that could be a good location because lots of people see it, but you would get very few people actually clicking and leaving your site because of it. So I don't know if I have a definite answer there. I don't know, Chris, if you have any.
That's actually a good answer there. I think what we're seeing here is probably the best ads for clicking. Is that correct to say for this kind of heat map?
That's correct, yes. So this heat map would be for ads that are actually getting clicked on. You know, the top right-hand square there is one that would definitely be seen, but for whatever reason, that location up on the top right isn't one that people are clicking on.
Yeah, and that's precisely right, too, what you said earlier, Spencer, about networks that pay out based on a CPM basis. I mean, I still have some AdSense up in like smaller sites, but I have a lot of larger sites that I use, like ValueClick Media is a company that I use, and they pay a flat eCPM rate. And I've just looked the other day, from 7 days of stats, like 20,000 impressions and only 3 or 4 clicks on one site. But you know, it was still like a dollar eCPM rate, so it wasn't, you know, it was a pretty good amount of money for when the advertiser really wasn't getting them any clicks.
Yeah, no, thanks for that additional sort of input there. I think so. If your site is getting paid on a, you know, sort of CPM or a display basis, you know, maybe these locations The lighter areas are good places to put those, and then the ads you want to have actually clicked on put in these darker areas. So thanks for the question there, Tyrone, and for everybody else listening, feel free to type in questions at any time there in the chat box, and we will be answering questions, of course, later on in the webinar, or if we see anything relevant along the way, we'll let you know that as well. So some of the very best places that we found through our testing are inline ad units. And I have a couple of quick examples here that I'm going to give. So if you take a look at this site, this is an example site that has a ad unit just below the title and with the content wrapping around. And this is your typical sort of inline ad unit that's going to perform very well. And again, just to highlight, this is an area that gets clicked a lot. People are going to see this above the fold, just below the title, and with the content wrapping around. So it's a great location. It's probably going to be the highest click-through rate ad on your site if you have one there. However, you can go overboard. You don't want to have too many ads. And the second picture I'm showing here, of course, is too many ads. This is 3 large AdSense units all above the fold, lined up right next to each other. This is sure going to get lots of clicks, but the user experience is going to be poor on your site. And in addition, Google actually recently came out with an update to their algorithm that essentially they said sites that have too many ads above the fold could be penalized in the search engine rankings. So your rankings within Google could actually be affected negatively if you have this many ads above the fold. So I definitely wanted to give you both sort of a good example, and then this is a bad example of too many ads above the fold. So Chris is going to sort of take it away here and talk a little bit more about inline ad positions.
Thanks, Spencer. Yeah, so as Spencer mentioned and showed in that image earlier that Google had done, inline ads perform really well just because of the simple fact that people are reading your content, so they're more likely to see the ads there because of the eyeballs that are on there. And so generally speaking, the ad units that perform the best across my network of sites, and I know this is the same for Spencer as well, are inline 300 by 250 or 336 by 280 units that are just beneath the article title. And you can be a little more aggressive and use 2 ad units side by side beneath the article title, but again, it's really a matter too of deciding just how aggressive you want to be with your AdSense because of the fact that Spencer mentioned that in February Google came out with an update that said that you can potentially rank lower based on being too aggressive with your ads above the fold. And also too, if you're trying to build up a longer or a larger website and you're trying to get better user experience, then being too aggressive with your ad units can turn people off from coming back to your site. But sometimes when you're building out niche sites, you're just going for capturing some search traffic and monetizing the search traffic as best as possible. And so a more aggressive strategy can work as well. It's just a matter of especially testing this, which we'll talk about as well. But so you can certainly do a less aggressive strategy, as I mentioned before, which would just be 1 ad unit below the article. And one that I've been using, especially in reference to the sites where I'm concerned about building an audience and keeping them coming back, I'll go with a 468 by 60 beneath the article title instead, which does pretty well. Like this is a crafting site that I bought last summer, and I just added this because the previous owner hadn't been using a lot of AdSense inside the content area. And so that ad unit alone, just adding it to the site, added an extra $100+ a month just by putting that in there. And so that's certainly a strategy too. It's really important to make sure you're using ads inside the content because just putting them in the sidebars, which is where I frequently see people trying to monetize their websites, really leaves a lot of the money on the table. And additionally, another strategy too is to use an inline ad unit, same sizes as discussed before, 300 by 250 or 336 by 280, and these are both AdSense sizes, I should mention. But using that ad unit at the very end of the content works really well because of the fact that when people are done reading your content, if they haven't clicked through an affiliate link or one of your previous ads, they're looking for the next action they should take. And if they get to the end of your content, sometimes they see there's a comment area, they might make a comment, or they'll just leave your website. And so ideally you want to give them an option as like a final chance to take another revenue generating action. And by revenue generating action, I mean clicking an ad or doing something that will help make you money. And so I found I have a small niche site that I use a 468 by 60 beneath the article title and then a 336 by 280 at the end of the content on the page. And that 336 by 280 unit actually outperforms the top one that's higher up on the page and above the fold. So it works really well because of that fact that people get to the end of the content and they're naturally looking for what should they do next. And again, as mentioned in the previous slide, just being more aggressive, you can use 2 units side by side or just a simple small unit. And the reason why we're talking about inline ad units and spending so much time discussing various examples is because roughly 75% of the income from AdSense that I've been generating has come from inline ad units. And so this is definitely based on testing and not just throwing things out there. So it's very, very much, I track, units by the actual ad units and then the channels and then looking at the colors, etc. But so it's really important. Now it isn't to say that you should completely ignore placing ads outside the content, because you can certainly make money out there as well. And this is one that we discussed just earlier, but the next to the logo of the website, I don't use AdSense typically for that, and that's what I mentioned, or what we discussed earlier though. I'll use banner networks that pay out on an eCPM rate, which is just a fancy way of saying a rate per every 1,000 impressions. So if it's an eCPM rate of $1, then you get $1 every 1,000 impressions. So that's normally what I use for these types of spots, where you can see the logo appear on the upper left and then the ad unit on the upper right. And additionally, what I found, and as evidenced by the image that Spencer showed earlier, is that sidebar ads also have a lot more likely chance for users to click through them. So I'll use those as well. And I think it's just because people finish reading the content, and once they get to the end of the content to drop down to the next line, they see the ad right next to the end of the sentence. And so I believe that's partly why there's a higher click-through rate. And then, of course, because it's closer to the actual content itself, that lends itself pretty well. So sidebar ad units I almost always use on all my sites, and they perform pretty well. When compared to the inline ad units, they don't perform as great, but they're still additional income, and they're worth definitely using. So
Chris, just
to
ask you to just clarify, when you're talking about sidebar ads, I noticed that you've got images there. Do you recommend putting images as placement ads there instead of, say, text ads? What have you found that's worked well?
Yeah, most frequently, if it's using AdSense, I almost always just use text/image, which is the default in AdSense to pick when you create the unit, because generally Google's, they're trying to optimize to make the most money possible, so they're going to display advertisers that pay the most for your specific niche, while remaining relevant to the content on the page. And so if you give both text and image, then you're more likely to get a higher paying ad than if you just use one or the other. But one strategy too, which is something that I suppose I didn't mention, but it's definitely worth considering, is several years ago, back when I first started doing AdSense, there was someone that posted this on the Digital Point forums years ago, but they were saying they'd found that putting images next to each of their AdSense units greatly improved the click-through rate, because the image, if it was somewhat related to what the AdSense unit was, whatever the niche was, it was improving click-through rate. And it was so effective that Google actually banned the practice. So one thing you can do is actually create an image unit in AdSense, and then the other one be a text unit. So then technically you're kind of getting the same image next to a text ad unit, but it's still within Google's policies. Yeah.
That's actually very smart to do.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of really high traffic websites, just by looking at their compete.com numbers, that they're getting tens of thousands of uniques monthly or even weekly, and so you can see I've seen them doing that as well. So it's definitely a good strategy, worth testing out And that's actually really kind of leads me into the next thing I wanted to share too. But go ahead and let me know if you had any other questions. But testing really is very important, and also just the colors you choose for your ads can also greatly affect how much you make, which Spencer's going to talk about here as well.
Yeah, definitely colors can have a big effect on the revenue of your site. In fact, just making a small little change in a color, if the ad is poorly optimized, if you change it so that either it's stands out a little bit more, or for whatever reason can encourage users to take note of that ad, you can greatly improve the click-through rate. So first I want to go over some basics as to whether or not there is sort of a best color that you should always use when creating an ad unit. Sort of the standard color is blue links with a white background. And the reason you might want to use blue links is just because every hyperlink out there typically is blue, or at least that's how the internet started, is when a word is underlined in blue, people know that they can click on that and it'll take them somewhere. So if you create ads that have blue links and a white background, which is white just being sort of the standard color of pages, that people know they can click on those. So that's a good place to start. If you are unsure what color to make your ads, I would recommend starting with blue links and a white background. The other option is to blend your ads in with the color of your theme or your website. And then the other option is to make it stand out or to contrast. And so here's an example of an ad unit that blends in with the site itself. You can see in this image that we've got the title Medical Lab Assistant Salary, and directly underneath it is an ad unit that blends in and matches the color of blue exactly with the title, and the text is the same black color as well as the text down here, so it almost looks as though it's part of the site. So that's strategy number one. Strategy number two is to make the ad stand out, and in this example the ad is red, it's got a border around it, it's obviously sort of different from the rest of the site itself. And you know, I wish I could say that you should always blend your ads or you should always make your ads stand out, but that's really impossible to always say something like that, to make a definitive statement like that. The important thing is to know of these strategies and then to test, to see which of these perform better. And we're going to talk a little bit about how you can test that, but essentially if you're using Google AdSense, for example, you can create custom channels and put different colors of AdSense units on your site and sort of swap those out after a period of time, and then check how those custom channels are performing. And whichever channel is performing best, you know to run more of that ad color on your site. You also need to consider the color choices for your theme, and this really goes in conjunction with the color of your ads. So you need to decide if you want, you know, blue ads, for example, and you also want it to blend in, then you should be using blue colored type theme or blues and grays, things of that nature. But if you want your ads to stand out, then you can really sort of explore lots of different theme colors. It's just something to consider because it actually does affect your click-through rate. The color and layout and all of these things of the theme itself can actually raise or lower your income based on the exact same amount of traffic that you have coming to your site, just depending on how you sort of catch the attention of those visitors and of that traffic that's coming in. So that is sort of a quick overview of theme and ad color choices, but they can definitely have a big impact on your bottom line.
Yeah, and something I'll mention too is that there are a lot of different things that go into making a niche website, just kind of covering some of the topics, recovering some of the topics we mentioned, setting where you put the ads, where you put, you know, what colors you choose, split testing an ad itself, and also just the actual practice of finding a theme and then finding one that doesn't look like every other website you've created. And then also, just in terms of customizing the look and feel of the website, Spencer was talking about changing colors of ad units to blend and match your content. But then if you actually want to change the color of your site itself, like if you want to use a white background for your pages instead of light gray, for example, I've found that white backgrounds tend to convert the best. So if you had a theme that you downloaded before and it was running on your site now and you heard me say that and you wanted to test it out, it's not really something you can easily do unless you go into the theme CSS and really kind of customize and change it. And the same goes for the site layout. As Spencer was showing earlier with those 4 diagrams, just different, being able to actually test those different layouts. And of course, too, the colors. And so the other element too is just being able to split test ads. So being able to see if a contrasting color or a blended ad unit performs better in your site is something you normally need a extra WordPress plugin or something to be able to split test your ad performance. So that's actually why I met with Spencer for coffee about 6 months ago to actually solve a lot of these problems that we had with creating niche websites, being able to set up different types of sites, customize the site layout, split test all within the theme itself, and that's what we created. And Spencer's going to show what that's all about.
Yeah, it was sort of Chris and I brainstormed a while ago about all those things he just mentioned about testing out different layouts, testing out different ads, making a theme look and feel the way you want without having to sort of dive into the code. And so that's why we went out and built the niche website theme, is to sort of meet our own needs as we build our own sites. And so I'm going to show you how that works and how it can make your life a little bit easier creating sites. So there's really 3 simple steps, and I'm going to show my screen here before I get too far. Chris, let me know if you can see my screen now.
Yep.
Okay, great. So what I'm showing right now is the back end of the niche website theme. And there's 3 steps: ad layout, banner setup, and theme options. So first, what we did is we picked 10 of the most popular layouts that there are, whether that's 1 sidebar on the right, 2 sidebars on the right, 1 on the left, and as you can see, all the different options that you might want to have for your overall site layout. So first, you just pick what you want. So if you want layout number 1, you just click activate here, and then you've changed your theme so it's got 1 sidebar on the right. And that's it for step 1. Step 2, you then enter in your banners. And when you click preview here, you can see all the different locations that you could possibly put ads. Of course, you don't want to put ads everywhere. You just pick sort of the 2 or 3 that you want. So if I wanted an ad in ad zone 4, I just click on that, and it takes me to the text box where I then enter in my code. And this could be my Google AdSense code, it could be my banner code from any other advertising network, it could be an email opt-in form, it could be anything that's 336 by 280 that would fit in this location. So I've already input my ad code here, and all that I do is click yes to display that, and I can determine whether I want that left, center, or right justified, and whether or not I want the text to wrap around that. And so then I'm going to go through and I'm going to maybe turn off some of these others that I had turned on earlier that I don't want to display. And then in addition, what I'm going to show you is ad zone 1. And this is a very frustrating place to put an ad if you've tried to do this on your own, and that's a link unit just underneath the navigation bar, ad zone 1, which is highlighted here. If you've ever tried to go into the header.php file and find the exact spot where to paste in your ad code, you know how frustrating it is. But now, all that you do is click, you paste in your code, and the theme handles that for you. You just hit Save Banners, and it's done. And what's even better is that you can test out 3 different ad units at
Oh,
once.
Spencer.
Yes.
Yeah, there's just been a
Sorry,
delay. That's okay. I was just going to mention for all the viewers who are watching this as well, you probably have realized that the time and effort that you've got to put into designing and getting a web designer to actually put together a theme for you and customize it and stuff like that would probably cost you a lot more and time and effort to actually do compared to this. And the reason why I'm really, really highly recommending something like this and checking it out is because it's so easy to use. Somewhere like Spencer is showing you, you can do this yourself without having to pay a web designer or web developer to implement this for you. So I just thought I'd just inject that into my experience from what I've gathered, because it's taken us hours as well to develop different themes, and it's probably much quicker just using a theme like this.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a huge time saver. That's really sort of the biggest point of this whole theme is that, just some of these simple things like inputting the link unit, that I've spent, hours of wasted time on past themes trying to get it just right. So there's a lot of little things that definitely are going to be time savers here that otherwise, yes, you would either spend lots of time yourself or hire somebody or outsource some quick work to have somebody do that. So thanks for that point, Tyrone, for sure. I was also mentioning how you can test out these ad zones. So you'll see down here that there's an edit banner 1, 2, and 3. So if you go over to edit banner 2, you can input a completely different color ad unit or different style of ad unit in 2 and 3, which I've done here. And then if you create a custom channel within Google AdSense, for example, instead of manually having to swap out this code after a week or so each time to test out different colors, this will automatically rotate the code every time a visitor views a new page. And so you can be automatically testing which color AdSense unit or other type of advertising you have on your site. All you do is log into your Google AdSense admin panel, see which ones are earning the most, and that's your winner, and you're done. So it makes testing much, much easier. And then finally, step 3, and then I'm going to show you how the theme actually looks here in a second, but I do just want to kind of show you in step 3 that you can customize all the different looks as far as colors. You can change background colors, post title colors. You can do all of this without inputting any code. All you do is click the color here. You can paste in your color if you have a specific one, or you just scroll to the color that you want and hit save, and you're done. So let's take a quick look, and I'm going to show you what the theme actually looks like. And this is over at niche website Theme.net. If anybody, this is running live on that site. But right now, what you're seeing on the screen is sort of the basic setup of the niche website theme. And so this is what it looks like, and you can see every time that I refresh my screen, this ad unit is going to change. So every time a visitor goes to a new page, they're going to see a different ad unit there, so that you can test that. So you can obviously see that you can upload a custom logo, you can upload a custom header, and I'll show you that very quickly. If you have a custom header with your logo or anything else, some other image, you can upload that very quickly as well into the theme. But I do want to sort of highlight the ease of use of changing the different colors. As I showed, you can click on the individual colors of everything you want to change, or if you're feeling a little bit lazier and just want to get something that looks good and already designed for you, we have 10 different predefined color schemes here. So if I want a teal colored theme, I just apply the teal theme, and then that automatically inputs all those colors for me that look good. I hit Save Design Options, and then when I come over here to the theme, you can see that it's now changed to that teal color automatically for me. However, if you do want to come in and customize things greatly, if you want to come in here and really tweak out the background colors, the post title colors, you want to change the menu links, and the menu background colors. And you want to do all these things drastically so it's just right, so it's the perfect theme that nobody else on the internet is using. You can do that very easily, and you can save it as a custom theme for future use. So you just come in here, hit save, custom theme, call it whatever you want, hit save, and that way if you ever change it away from that and want to come back, it's there saved, ready to be used automatically. So I did want to show that. And then very quickly, there's a couple of other options. You can have social sort of links. You can have an RSS feed, a Twitter feed, Facebook icons, which you can see are up here. That's what these icons are for. Every time you input your Facebook username or other information on the back end, you get that icon automatically. Or you can just delete all of this information, and then you won't have anything at all. If you don't want to have any social links at all, you just hit save and you'd be done. In addition, you can choose whether or not you want your ad units to show up on pages or posts. If you want to not show those on the home page, you can click no. Or if you want to show it everywhere, click yes for that. And then quickly some meta information. You can decide whether or not you want to display the post date, which can come in handy. There's actually separate there's actually separate WordPress plugins that do that, but now that's implemented into the theme itself. And then finally here you can input your Google Analytics code so that you don't have to input that into the footer of the theme itself, and you're ready to go. So that is very quickly sort of an overview in 3 simple steps how you can get a custom theme up and running. So again, this is what it looks like right now. I do want to show you though how quickly you can change how this looks. So in about 1 minute, I'm going to go through all steps again, and I'm going to drastically change the look and feel of this site, and so we can see that. So again, I'm going to go to step 1. Instead of having one sidebar on the right, I'm going to go ahead and activate 2 sidebars, one on the left and one on the right. And then I'm going to click preview here, and instead of displaying, let's say, a 336 by 280, I'm going to display Add Zone 5. So I'd come in here to Add Zone 5, I'd paste in my code, which I've already done, and just click yes. And then I would save my banners there. And I'm going to go ahead and make sure that Add Zone 4 is off. And finally, let's see, maybe I want to turn on one sidebar unit. Let's turn on Add Zone 14. I'll just click yes to make sure that's on. And then I'm going to go to step 3. And here's again where we can totally change the look and feel of the colors. And I'm going to go ahead and just apply a theme color that I've saved, a custom color scheme. So I just load my custom color scheme, and I'll leave my social links here, hit my save design options, and I'm done. So then I come out here. Again, this is what it looked like before. I'll just give you a second to take a look at what the site looks like right now. And then I'm going to hit refresh. So I'll do that right now. And this is going to drastically change how it looks. And as you can see, the colors are totally different. I now have got 2 sidebars. I'm using different advertising units. And of course, again, every time I refresh my screen, I'm getting a different color ad unit so that I can be automatically testing those out. So very quickly, I've created a unique looking theme, and as you can imagine, if you have 2 or 3 or 10 different sites, you can load this theme on all of them, and within just a few minutes have something that looks and feels very different and is very customizable. So overall, it's come in very handy for me because I do build a lot of sites, and it has been a big time saver for me. So overall, that's what I wanted to show you there. And I'm going to turn the time back over to Chris here, give him power over the screen here one more time.
Yeah. Can you see my screen?
Yes. Thanks for
And
that, Spencer.
yes, I can see your screen.
Yeah, and we'll get to questions here in a second. But I mean, really, Spencer was kind of showing you the problems that we had with our own building, building websites and having struggles with setting up banners and changing colors easily. And so, additionally, too, even just being able to change the layout. So you no longer really need to go out and find a new theme to get a different look each time, because you can just choose between one of the 10 different site layouts that are built in. And then additionally, because actually being able to determine what ads make the most money, split testing is really important, but it's usually a scary word that most people don't want to do because of the work it's involved. And that's why we've just built that into the theme as well, so that you can put in multiple different ad units using different colors, so you can actually see, because it auto-rotates those ad units, which ad unit is going to make you the most money on your site. And so that is all done through automatically rotating between the 3 different banner codes, again, for every ad zone built into the theme. And then again, just being able to change the color and the other theme options without actually having to go into the theme CSS files and touch WordPress code and all that. I'm not a designer myself or a coder. I just know very basic HTML stuff, like opening new links and new windows. So that's why I built that all into the theme. And so on the webinar only, we're doing a special price for the theme of $67. And you can get that through nichewebsitetheme.com/Tyrone. And you can use it on limited websites that you own, so it's a free multi-site license upgrade. And then also, we do free upgrades within the theme itself via auto updates. Just inside your WordPress dashboard, you get a little notice that there's an upgrade available, and click one button and it's upgraded. And then we also have a 60-day refund policy, so there's no real risk for you. And I know that because we were talking about just one element of making money with niche websites and the actual creation process of the site and how to split test your ads and everything else, Spencer actually recorded a video talking about how he sets up niche websites and covered a lot more of the topics that you might not have been able to, that we weren't able to cover, because frankly we could probably talk about this for hours. And certainly we'll give you a chance to ask some questions. I already see some people asking now, but so Spencer recorded that video, and then also I interviewed 8 of my friends basically that I talked to on Skype that make thousands of dollars a month with various niche websites and larger websites, and so we include those recordings in there as well. And so you can get that all at the URL that I just mentioned, nichewebsitetheme.com/Tyrone. And I see there's already a few questions coming in. I'd like to turn that over to anyone, so go ahead and...
Definitely just want to say thank you so much for these kind offers and also bonuses, Chris and Spencer. Really, really appreciate that for all my subscribers and also viewers as well. So, guys, if you're really interested in this, it's a good opportunity to take this up because it's only valid for 72 hours. Even I'm keen to just get all those interviews and also the step-by-step videos for myself. So, thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, we appreciate it, Tyrone. And yeah, as Chris said, I can just give you some more insight on the step-by-step bonus video. Again, that covers a lot more than obviously we could do here today. It does cover everything from the very beginning, starting with keyword research, how to generate keywords, how to find different keyword ideas, and then the very important step of analyzing competition in Google to see if you can actually rank for that particular keyword. So I go over that in quite a bit of depth and sort of show you the exact criteria that I use to find those winning keywords that I believe I can rank for. And then I go on and cover additional topics such as actually getting your site to rank, involving link building and other topics as well. So it is a sort of full comprehensive step-by-step video that you'll get as a bonus. Yeah, you can, like we said, pick that up at nichewebsitetheme.com/Tyrone right now. We've got quite a few questions here, so let's go ahead and jump right into those. For now, I'm going to read over these. Chris, I don't know if you see any.
Yeah, I was answering a few questions that people were asking during your demo, but I see a question here about if the theme is available with all your current niche websites. Yeah, so as long as you're using WordPress, it's just a matter of uploading the theme files, clicking activate, and pretty much just putting in your license code. So it's really a pretty simple process. And then additionally, too, we have step-by-step videos for everything as well. So if you had any questions, and also, of course, we have a support desk that you can email as well if you had any technical questions as well.
Yes, exactly. And I have several of my sites that were existing that I've had for a couple of years that I switched over to this theme, and it was a smooth transition. Just upload it. The sites were fine, and then I could customize the theme as I needed. So very easy to use with existing sites. It's not a problem.
Definitely. I see Greg's asking about example live sites that we built or someone else has built. Probably the best URL actually just to see the theme in action is just nichewebsitetheme.net. That's where the demo site was that Spencer built. Generally speaking, and this is something that you should keep in mind too, as you start to build sites and start making more money, you should actually really never tell anyone your sites
that is such a true thing. People start copying you. That's what's happened to us.
Yeah, I mean it's really a matter of if someone sees that, oh look, that person's making this much money, and here's some of the content they built, and I can look and research and see where they built their links. It's very simple to find out a lot about what they're doing that way. So yeah, it's very risky to share that information.
Yep, I
don't
concur.
want to, Greg. I'm sure we want to share this information, but we've realized after a period of time of building these niche websites, even for myself and for my team, we've had to keep them private. And I've got numerous of these, and when I released them, I found out that people were actually just duplicating and basically copying exactly what we're doing.
Definitely. And then even if you share just one URL, you can see, you can use different tools to find out every other URL that's hosted on that server as well. So it's really, it's always a risk. So I'll just say nichewebsitetheme.net so you can see the theme in action. And then, of course, if you wanted to purchase it, you can get it through nichewebsitetheme.com/Tyrone. And actually, I should mention, too, that even on the main site, you can actually buy the theme. Because right now it's only available there, and we're basically just, I mentioned too a little while ago that we're constantly improving the theme and doing free upgrades. So we're in the middle of several more upgrades that we're planning on finishing out before we actually officially reopen it at a higher price point. So that's definitely worth keeping in mind as well.
Yeah, and obviously, as Tyrone alluded to earlier, that we did have to put a lot of time and effort into creating the theme, and obviously, spent a huge sum of money to get it developed to work just the way that we, wanted and thought that others would find useful as well. So, we could be charging, more for it, but we felt like at $67, it's basically a steal to get something that you can use on unlimited websites that really, with just a few clicks without having to code anything, you can have a customized theme. So I found it very handy for me because I can actually hand this off to my virtual assistant,